Hi guys, how are you doing? Happy whatever day this is because I have no idea. Saturday. I think it's Saturday. Isn't it strange? Like, do you know what day it is? I don't know what day it is. All right. So, welcome to Story Time with Gammon. And as you guys are hopping on, please say hello. Also, in the comments, write your kids' names because I want to say hi to your kids. And we are doing a really nice story today. I really love this story, and it's just so appropriate for this time that we're going through because it's all about a little pig. Can you see? I'll try to get the reflection off. It's all about a little pig who wants to send a giant hug to his grandma who lives far, far away. And right now, I think we're all missing our loved ones and our family that don't live with us. I know I'm really missing my family. I'm missing my kids so much. I'm missing my grandkids. We usually do some video calls to each other. And this is just the sweetest story because it really helps everybody understand that, everybody misses people. We don't all live together. Even in this situation, there are still lots of kids whose grandparents live very far away. So I thought this would be an excellent book to read tonight. And if you're on the replay, guys, give me a hashtag after party and share this out to your friends because this is a really super wonderful book. Okay, this book is called The Giant Hug, and it is by Sandra Horning. It's illustrated by Valerie Gorbachev. All right, so let's get started. Look, all kinds of fun animal stamps. Okay, The Giant Hug. Here's the envelope. See, sent to Granny Lewis on Marshall Avenue. What do you want to send Granny for her birthday? Owen's mother asked. A giant hug, Owen replied. He opened his arms as wide as he possibly could to show how giant the hug would be. Do you want to draw a picture of you hugging Granny? His mother said. No, Owen said. I want to send a real hug. I'll give the mailman a hug and ask him to send it to Granny. They gathered their letters and walked to the post office in town. So, guys, I'm using this new platform, and if anyone's making comments, I don't see them. All right. Soon they got to the front of the line, and Mr. Neven called out, "Next!" See, they're at the post office. Have you guys gone to the post office? And you have to wait in line. Post offices always have American flags. U.S. post offices. I want to mail a hug to my granny. Will you please send it? Owen asked in his most polite voice. Well, we don't normally send hugs, but I suppose we could give it a try, Mr. Neven said. Owen's mother wrote down Granny's address for Mr. Neven. Owen walked behind the counter, opened his arms as wide as he possibly could, and gave Mr. Neven a giant hug. Please make the hug just as giant when you pass it to the mailman, Owen said. Okay, hold on one second because I want to see if, I want to see if anybody's on with me and if for some reason the system is not showing me. So I apologize for this break. Sorry, kids. Okay. All right. Here's the little break. I just want to see if there's anyone coming. See, there's 4 people on with me. 2 comments. Harper and Brooks are here. I don't like this new platform. Okay. Whoa. Hold on. Okay. Sorry. I see Candy's here. Angel's here. Harper and Brooks are here. Okay. I don't know why I can't see comments. All right. Tried this new platform that Facebook has. Terrible. All right. Sorry. Delay of game. Oh, I won't see the mailman who delivers it to your granny. I give the mail to Mrs. Porter. who sorts it and puts it on a truck to the big city. After that, it's put on a plane and flown across the country, Mr. Neven said. Well, you will have to hug Mrs. Porter then, Owen said as Mr. Neven carried the mail to Mrs. Porter. Mr. Neven looked down awkwardly at Mr. Porter as he handed her the mail and the address of Owen's granny. He blushed and mumbled, here's the hug. Mr. Neven opened his arms as wide as he possibly could and gave Mrs. Porter a big hug. Mrs. Porter smiled as she sorted the mail. Just then the driver came to collect the mail bound for the big city. As the driver lifted the last heavy bag of mail, Mrs. Porter said, Leroy, one more thing. Someone is sending a hug to his granny. Here is the address, and here is the hug. Mrs. Porter opened her arms as wide as she possibly could and gave Leroy a giant hug. Leroy laughed and said, now that's a piece of mail you don't see too often. Leroy whistled on the way to the big city. After unloading the mail, he checked the schedule to see who was driving the mail to the airport. It read James. Leroy found James in the break room eating his morning snack. Hi, James. I know this seems a little odd, but a hug is being sent through the mail to someone's granny. And this is her address, Leroy said. Leroy opened his arms as wide as he possibly could and gave James a giant hug. James cringed. He was not the hugging type, but he would do his job. Plus, James looks like he's a porcupine, so what do you think, kids? Pretty sharp hug. Later that afternoon, James arrived at the airport. He asked the mail handler when the mail was being loaded onto the plane. That mail was taken to the plane a few minutes ago, the mail handler said. James rushed to the plane where Captain Johnson was getting ready to board. Captain, a kid is sending a hug through the mail to his granny. Here is the address and here is the hug, James said with a grimace. James opened his arms as wide as he possibly could and gave Captain Johnson a giant hug. Now, isn't that a grand way to start the day, Captain Johnson bellowed. When the plane landed, Captain Johnson walked to the airport post office. He saw Amanda standing next to the mail truck looking sad. Hello, are you driving the truck to the city? Captain Johnson asked. Amanda nodded glumly. A hug is being sent through the mail, Captain Johnson announced. Captain Johnson opened his arms as wide as he possibly could and gave Amanda a giant hug. Amanda brightened and said, "Thank you." She bobbed her head to the music as she drove. After unloading the mail, Amanda went to find Chad, the driver, taking the mail to Granny's town. Chad, a hug is being sent through the mail. Here is the address, and well, here's the hug, Amanda said as her face turned red. Amanda opened her arms as wide as she possibly could and gave Chad a giant hug. Chad chuckled and said, "Finally, do you want to go dancing tonight?" "I'd love to," Amanda explained. Chad kicked up his heels and hopped in his truck. Early the next morning, Chad drove to Granny's town. As he prepared to return to the city, he remembered the hug. "Who will be delivering the mail to Penside today?" Chad asked the supervisor. "Shelley, but she's not here yet," Miss Greenberg replied as she adjusted her glasses. "Please pass this along to her," Chad said. Chad opened his arms as wide as he possibly could and gave Miss Greenberg a giant hug. Miss Greenberg gasped with surprise and her glasses tilted to the side. You see, her glasses almost fell off her face. "Shelley, I need a word with you," Miss Greenberg called when Shelley arrived. A hug is being sent through the mail to a boy's granny, and you are the mail woman delivering it," Miss Greenberg said. Miss Greenberg opened her arms as wide as she possibly could and gave Shelley a giant hug. "Granny will be delighted," Shelley exclaimed. Shelley stopped to smell the flowers as she delivered mail from door to door. She saw Granny gardening in the yard. "Mrs. Lewis, I have a special delivery for you," Shelley said. "Your grandson has sent you a hug." Shelley opened her arms as wide as she possibly could and gave Granny a giant hug. Granny grinned and said, "That's the most wonderful piece of mail I have ever received. You send that grandson of mine a big kiss." Granny puckered up her lips and gave Shelley a big, wet kiss on the cheek. And look, there's her grandson, and he got a kiss all the way back in the mail. Isn't that a wonderful story? I love that story. And it's so appropriate because we're missing all our grandmas and our grandpas. And Harper and Brooks, my grandkids, they're on. And I know they miss me and I miss them. And I miss my daughter Lauren and Chris and my other kids. And Candy and Angel, I bet you guys miss somebody too. So isn't it nice to know that you can mail a hug? I don't know how well it would do these days, but the great thing is that we have this kind of technology right here, and we're able to give great big hugs to each other through this amazing technology. So, thank you for joining me and reading The Giant Hug. Tomorrow night, we're going to read The Stinky Cheese Man and Other Fairly Stupid Tales because it's super funny. Now, honestly, I'm not sure I'm reading this whole book, but I'm going to read some of the chapters in it, okay? And then we'll read some more chapters as we go along. All right? So I hope you guys enjoyed The Giant Hug. Again, it's by Sandra Horning. Wonderful, wonderful story to tell your kids, and a wonderful way to send your grandma or grandpa or anyone you're missing right now a great big hug. All right, guys, thank you for being here. I'll be back tomorrow night at 7 o'clock and around the web. Take care, everybody. Lots of love to all of you. Bye-bye. How are you supposed to see? Sucks. That's terrible. It's terrible.